Hello, everyone. Scott Zambelli here with Team Titans Real Estate based out of Realty Executives' hometown in Shelby Township, Michigan. And today is everyone's favorite day in real estate. It's closing day. Jill and I had the pleasure of having one of our clients who sold their house to us. We had the closing today, which, that's when the transfer of title officially happens. So I just want to give an update real quick here. Here's the house. It's over in on Woodmont in Madison Heights. Sale went very well. Our sellers are very happy, which means we're very happy also. You can see our hotline there, 586-232-5144 underneath my picture there. And then at the bottom, you have our individual phone numbers if you wanted to reach a specific one of us. But I wanted to address really quick, a lot of people don't quite understand what it is we do as realtors. And so I just wanted to let you know, because, a lot of people think, okay, we brought you on as our realtor. Your job is to sell our house. But once that happens, they don't understand we do a lot more than just simply put the sign in your yard and bring offers in. The moment the sale happens, there's a whole bunch more work that we do behind the scenes that you, the client, typically don't see, which is good because that's what we're getting paid for. We're getting paid to handle the stress and the time it takes to coordinate all the moving parts. So what are those moving parts? So in this particular case, we were representing the seller. And so the moving parts are you got the buyers and their agent that we have to work with. We have to coordinate everything with. We have the home inspection process that occurs, and they have their inspector who has to coordinate with us a time to book their showings or their inspection, I should say. After that, then there's the potential negotiating back and forth with the buyer if anything came up from the inspection, and negotiating on your behalf. And then we got to work with the bank or lender. There's typically some type of appraisal. If it's an FHA or VA deal, they will have their own inspector come out as well. So we got to coordinate with them. And then after all of that, then we get into the underwriting phase. Now, for us, we typically take a step back at that point, and the heavy load gets put onto the lender. But while they're doing their part for underwriting, the title companies, which we also coordinate with, we have to work with them, especially if things come up. Most cases, title goes smooth, but we have to provide all the contact info, all the data, everything to the title company for them to do their job, place the title order for you. Now, in this particular case, there was an interesting issue that came up with title that I wanted to address, but also going back to the appraisal part. Now, this is an important part because I don't want to gloss over it too much, because you could just let things coast through, but you want agents who'd go the extra mile for you. And I wanted to give you this because this house was a great example of what Jill and I did to really maximize things for our seller. So in this market, a lot of things are selling well above asking price. Things are coming in with appraisal guarantees and things like that. And a lot of times the prices are so high, it can't appraise. So that comes on to us as the listing agent. In representing our sellers, we want to give them the best chance possible to get as high of an appraisal as possible. So in this particular case, when the appraiser scheduled their time slot, there was a chance of, at this price point, we weren't sure where we were going to come in with an appraisal, if it would be high enough. And so I made sure I put together a list of everything that had been done in the house, the values. I pulled up comps. I did a thorough gathering of information and contacted that appraiser with my information. So I wanted to make that appraiser's job as easy as possible, to make sure that appraiser saw the specific comps that I wanted them to see. Because what I had discovered is this particular house originally had a certain square footage listed, but it was an addition that was done at some point in the past was never reported to the city So they were under the square footage was actually bigger than what was being reported in the city. So I made sure the appraiser knew this, and I showed them the record showing it. I also showed the value increase that extra square footage had, as well as that specific room that was added. So by doing this, and I spent a solid hour of my time with the appraiser. A lot of times, a lot of people just overlook that part and let it go on cruise control, and whatever the appraiser finds, they find. But we don't do that. If we know that there's a risk, we go out of our way to make sure we can maximize the value of your home in that appraisal, so that you get every penny you can. Because with appraisal guarantees, the way they work, I'll give you a very simplified version. Is, let's say a house is $250,000 you're asking, and through the comps you think it'll appraise for $250,000. And if you get offers of $270,000, and let's say it has a $10,000 appraisal guarantee, what that means is they are willing to pay up to $10,000 above whatever the appraisal is up to asking price. So if they paid $270,000 in the purchase agreement with a $10,000 appraisal guarantee, if it appraises at $260,000, they're still going to pay the $270,000. But if it appraises at $250,000, they're only willing to pay $260,000. So if that appraisal guarantee isn't going to be enough to cover the gap, the seller will have to look at renegotiating to a lower price potentially. So by doing this, I reached out to this appraiser. I spent an hour of time on the phone, went through every single room of that house with them, went through all the comps. I went through the upgrades. I went through that addition and the added square footage. And I was able to get that appraisal to come in at full value. I shouldn't say I got it in, but I was able to prove to the appraiser what the value is. Because if that appraiser had gone through quickly and looked at the square footage that was originally stated, that alone would have easily cost $10,000 in value easily, because of the amount of square footage difference that there was. And then with the updates, I really think and I'm a little biased here because Jill and I were involved in this. I really think we were able to get that value from $250,000 up to $270,000 for our sellers. So, it took an extra hour of our time, but it was well worth it. So those are the kind of things we do as your agents when you hire us. We recognize you're trusting us with the largest financial transaction of your life in most cases, and we take that seriously. So we go out of our way to maximize things for you. So anyways, that's the appraiser. And then on the title side, we order the title. You as the seller and the buyer, you can choose whatever title company you want. Oftentimes people don't have a place. So like we have an in-house title, we have other title companies we know. So we are more than happy to give you references and help you choose if you want, but you are welcome to choose anyone you want. In this case, the title company that was involved, they found an old lien on the house from prior to our sellers owning it. They lived in it over 20 years. This old lien from before was sticking out there, because what happened is the previous owner 20 something years ago took out a loan before they closed, and that lien got reported against the title after our sellers took possession of it. So the title company was able to work on it, get it cleared and removed so that it could sell with clear title. But that's one of the reasons for title insurance. But that was an interesting case, because that usually doesn't happen, especially 20 something years later, to find out there's a lien on the property still. But so they were able to fix that. After we get through the title, we get clear to close from the underwriter. We then coordinate a 48-hour walkthrough with the buyers. And then if any final details pop up, something that was unexpected or whatever, we have to negotiate that. And then we get final numbers and review all those for accuracy. That's another thing I find happens a lot. We are very thorough. One of the benefits we have is Jill, in addition to being a realtor, is a closer for some title companies. She has her notary. So she understands the paperwork thoroughly. So she can pre-check everything for accuracy. And then on top of that, I will go through the numbers and make sure everything matches with the purchase agreement as agreed upon. So, and if there's any errors, you want to find that early. So, because it's easy to fix before the closing. Unfortunately, a lot of times I'll see it where the other side will, they haven't looked at the numbers until they're at the closing, and then they're trying to fix errors when they're sitting there waiting for everyone to get their money and exchange keys, and that's the worst time for all that to happen. You want the closing to go as smooth as possible, and that's what we aim for. So anyways, that's what we do in a very fast, condensed version, but like I said, it's a lot more than just putting the sign in the yard, getting an offer, and having you sign papers. We have to coordinate the transaction all the way through to the finish line, which is what we do. We get you across the finish line. So give us a call. Our hotline, 586-232-5144, or our individual numbers, 549-6096 is my number, and Jill Webler is at 586-277-2145. Everyone have a blessed day. As always, you can find us on teamtitansofrealestate.com, and just reach out to us or go to our Facebook page. You can find us there as well. All right, everyone, take care. God bless.